This is the 83rd episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the 4th week of March 2012. This episode is titled Amazon Chatter Monkey. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, your cloud computing expert. Wow. I'm your host, Jason Howard, and joining me is the co-host who's wowing it up, Justin Edelstein. Justin, how are you doing today?
You know, I created the Google Doc for the agenda for this show, and I left the title out, and then I didn't look at it until you just said it. That was a good title.
That's not bad. It's
Amazon
sort of my talent.
Chatter Monkey.
Yeah.
Got it.
Got it. All right. Well, you'll understand it pretty quickly because we have an agenda.
We do.
We're going to talk about our blog post this week at blog.arkusinc.com, talking about chatter approvals.
Yeah.
Which should be up in the time of this, hopefully on the time of this recording, or the time of you're listening. The recording's happening. And we also are going to talk about, I can't even pronounce the name. I'm not even going to try. Some company that bought Draw Something.
Zynga.
I look at it and I want to say one thing.
You can't read it.
Zynga.
It's all there.
Zynga.
Yep.
And then we got some Google Map news, and then we got an article on digital cloud gobbling up CDs, music, and books that actually I saw on vacation. I saw it on USA Today front page, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
USA Today is the newspaper of vacations.
It is. It wasn't the one that was actually delivered to my hotel room. It was, I just saw it as I was walking down the street, and the article cover has sort of them using CDs to kind of build a cloud. You know how they're like the round parts, so it was kind of cool. And then I went to my iPad and I looked it up on the USA Today app. All right. So first things off is the newest blog post about chatter approvals. Basically a quick little review of the functionality of a chatter approvals for all of you out there who are absolutely new to the 83rd episode here. Chatter is a collaboration tool built into Salesforce.com. Salesforce.com is a CRM application amongst everything else in platform. And chatter approvals is the ability to add the approval process, doing the approvals, which used to be in its own interface, or is still in its own interface, but now you can do it also in Chatter. So inline in Chatter, you can see the approval and approve it right from Chatter. And that's really what the blog post talks about and gives it a rating, which I won't say. The blogger was really wanted to give it a grade, so gave it a grade, and then offer some suggestions for future functionality.
Yep. I have some additions to his improving approvals. That's a tough one.
Zynga.
So nice functionality. We set it up in a sandbox to play around with it. I liked it. One thing that I noticed that you cannot do is when you submit something for approval, it posts to the chatter feed of that record that's being put into the process.
Yes.
And it posts to the profile of the person who needs to approve it.
Okay.
The person who needs to approve it cannot approve it from the chatter feed of the record itself. They must go to their chatter feed or their chatter tab and approve it from there. And I found that to be odd.
Factor in also that you cannot approve it from desktop or mobile.
Yeah, the desktop and mobile apps aren't on the same. It's because they're on these different platforms that make them not. They don't coincide. Like, you can't do everything you can do on Chatter Mobile, on Chatter Desktop, on Chatter.com, or Salesforce.com inside Chatter. They're always disjointed. They're always going to be disjointed. They have different views. They used to. Now they're the same. Now they're different again. That's a little game that Salesforce never had to play before, because they always had everything be the same because it was on Salesforce.com. You'd log into the website. Everything was the same everywhere. Now they've got all these other apps. They want to go mobile, and they want to go on the desktop, and they got to update them.
Yeah, they're definitely lacking. The one that remember I seeing in a release at least 2 or 3 releases ago was push notifications in the Chatter apps. It still not there.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I don't.
Maybe I have to turn. Someone let us know. Do we have to turn that on inside the app or something?
I don't know. So anyway, but chatter approvals, what's interesting, I think, more than just chatter approvals and its features or not features is sort of where you see this going. And this, Salesforce is putting in time and money into chatter. Chatter as an interface is probably the way we are going to be doing a lot more work in the future. So I would suggest that that's
agreed.
That's so go to blog.arksync.com. You can read up more about it and try that out. Next up, Zynga.
This made our news for two reasons.
One, because I made this my pick of the week 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Okay.
And two, because we know Zynga is a big Salesforce.com shop, so...
Service shop, yep. All their
just
service.
Throw their news out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting... It's sort of like one of those mini phenomenons that like just happens so quickly. Like the speed of the internet now. This company that launched this OMG Pop. Is it OMG Pop?
Yeah.
Launches an app called Draw Something.
Yeah.
It's basically Pictionary over the iPad. Right?
Or iPhone. I play it on my phone.
Right. And you can play through people through Facebook.
Although I'm kind of bored with it already. I will say, I'm bored. I'm done.
Well, you have the attention span of a fly.
But that's it. Like that's how fast this happened. I'm reading here, 30 million downloads in 5 weeks. That's insane.
Yep.
Okay. OMG Pop has reached 10.8 million active daily users, overtaking Words with Friends, which probably got the attention of Zynga because Zynga owns Words with Friends,
right,
through another purchase. And as fast as this has happened, I'm done with it. Like, it's not fun for me anymore.
Yeah, I still actually like it. I do play it. It's one of those things, when I play, it's like at the end of the day, I'll go and just then go in and play a couple rounds. When I was on vacation, I was playing it, by the poolside. I'd get a couple. And so basically, they give you a word, you draw it, you then send it to them. They get to see the way you drew it, like kind of not in real time, but they get to see the way you drew it, which is interesting. They have to guess the word, then they do the back to you. And you go back and forth.
It's a well-done game.
Cool. I would actually say it feels like a alpha. I've played it many, many more rounds than you, and it feels like an alpha. There's all sorts of strange things it does or doesn't do,
but it's a fun, catchy game. It connects really well with Facebook,
right?
Which is what it is really its sweet spot, right? You connect it to your Facebook, you give it permission to see who knows what,
right?
But your friends list,
right? And anybody else
at least
Draw Something,
and they have connected it to their Facebook, and
right.
You can easily just pick up games
right.
and start playing against. That's what it has. It's that tie to Facebook,
and that's $200 million worth.
Totally worth $200 million.
I mean,
that's it.
Amazing. That's just crazy. Actually, it's a great game. You should try it. They have some new features coming out. I read an article. I think I tweeted it or sent it to you.
You sent it to me. You may have tweeted it.
Yeah, they have new features coming out. In-game chat, much more words. Actually, the new release actually has a lot of new words.
Yeah, I saw there was a new release.
And there's lots of it's one of those things that just catches on, and yeah, it kind of has a bubble, and then sort of people will either continue playing it. I think it needs competition. Like you're playing with the person to win, but it needs competition. Like you need to have something that you're competing with the other person about.
Yeah, there's no winner,
no,
or loser.
No,
you're just playing.
You're just playing, which is a little bit in the game. I like that you're playing together, but I'd like there to be like you get awarded, and I also like multiplayer. I think I said this when I made it my app pick of the week. Like I'd love to be able to send it out to 2 or 3 people. They all guess it, and then the person who gets it the fastest, they're the one who gets the points. That kind of thing. Anyway, so just the speed of the internet, and
pretty crazy.
Cloud gaming, whatever, it's happening.
Pretty nutty.
Then we got some Google Maps news, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Lots of it's actually been hitting a lot of different pieces. The core of the Google Maps news, Google Maps being just Google, I think, bought it from another company. They've integrated it so well into everything they do. Then they open up the APIs and they say, hey, listen, use it wherever you want. Use it. So a lot of companies, like Foursquare and StreetEasy and even Apple, built it into their applications. Use the APIs, rendered the little tiles.
Absolutely.
Well, as of, I think, last October, Google announced that they're going to start charging for it. They haven't charged anybody yet, by the way.
We will get you hooked, and then we will charge you.
Right,
like a drug dealer.
Right, so charge you for that GPS or that Google tiles. Mm-hmm. And so some companies have been making making some changes. And the first one that I saw pretty quickly was Foursquare changed their mapping engine to, I think, an open source mapping project. Then Apple changed theirs, not on the iPhone or
Foursquare
iPad.
changed theirs to a product called OpenStreetMap.
Yeah, I think that's where
A
everybody's going.
user-contributed map service that's created and managed much like Wikipedia.
Sounds like you're almost reading.
I was, but I had the information.
So, and then Apple changed it, not in their core products, but they changed it in their new, the iPhoto app on the iPad and iPhone. You can build those, what do they call them? They call them journals.
The journals.
And you can drop a map on
That's
the
right.
journal. But that map is not a Google map. So it's
Ooh.
kind of interesting. Nope.
What is it now?
It's using the same technology.
Oh, no kidding.
And then another one did it. Oh, Street Easy. They went and built their own. And what they were saying, which
They
I
built
thought,
their own?
well, they use this, but they build their own maps on top of it. Well, here's why. They're only focused on certain areas of the country.
Right.
So their thing to Google was, great, you're going to charge for maps, but I just want New York. Give me New York and D.C. I don't need Kansas because my application that I need to do is here.
Right.
And there's an interesting article that they put out saying they were also able to put in more information because they're focusing just on this area. So like express stops and things like that on subways and things that Google wasn't focusing in on because Google was trying to get the world stuff. Now, things like Street View, that's hard to reproduce, right?
Yeah, you gotta have big time money and infrastructure to do that.
And speaking of Street View...
Well, I was going to stay on this for
Okay.
1 minute. I was going to ask you a question about it.
Question.
Because I don't know. Does Apple, just sticking with Apple for a moment, so the Maps application
Yes.
on your iOS device
Yes.
is a Google Maps app.
Yes, it is.
So
Well, it's a
I presume
Maps
that
app written by Apple that
written
uses
by
Google's
Apple,
APIs.
front end uses Google's back end
API.
map.
The map
So
API,
is-
yes.
Are they paying for that? I presume they are.
No one has.
No?
Google has not charged anybody yet.
Really?
Google said we are going to charge. So I think it's now it's an everybody getting off the ship kind of situation.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And it's like, again, it's going to scale high, but you got to figure they got to make money on it. I get that. I wish they would have just said from the beginning it's this, as opposed to it's free, because free to something changes. Also, once you're paying for something, then I kind of want, I want more. I want support. I want to be able to call 1-800 Google Maps and get support on my maps.
That's true.
So, interesting. Google certainly, I don't know if this fits under their do no evil thing, but it's an interesting way of looking at the world. Speaking of interesting ways of looking at the world,
I'm looking at the world right now in a very interesting way.
Tell me about the next story.
I am taking a tour of a river in the Amazon rainforest. I think this is called the Black River.
Go on.
Google Street View has made its way to the Amazon rainforest
Nice.
through a partnership with... Oh, I really wish I knew who was with the partnership. Hold on a second. Let me pull this up here. They had a partnership with a nonprofit organization called the Foundation for a Sustainable Amazon to map a small section of the massive Rio Negro, the Black River, which is pretty darn cool. I am looking at it right now, and I'm traveling up this river via Street View. I guess they just took a little boat and made their way up this river. Yeah, here, look, you can see the wake behind the boat. Pretty interesting. This is an example of the reach that Google has that you wouldn't expect the competition to be able to actually compete with, right? If you needed to embed Street View of the Amazon, you're not going to be able to do it with OpenStreetMap for a while, I bet.
Yeah. No, it's true. I'm actually more impressed. I mean, that's interesting. I like the concept of
cool.
it. But I'm kind of more interested in that there is an open source mapping product out there that sort of people have already been contributing to. And if you think about Wikipedia, sort of its ability to kill off encyclopedia, in fact, that could be another piece of news, is that Encyclopedia Britannica is no longer going to do a print.
Why didn't we do that?
Well, we just did.
Because
I'm
just traveling up this river.
I know,
right now.
you're going up the river. So, but that's interesting. Here's an open source sort of website that's cloud sourced data is now killing off one of the most oldest and venerable
couple hundred years.
Yeah, of printed media. Now, of course, they're going to stay on the web. But it's, these things happen. It's kind of like looking at something like Zagat. Like the Zagat guide in New York City used to be like the big thing. Like, what's the Zagat rating? I could care less what a Zagat rating is anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I go to Yelp, I go to something else, and I look, and that's it.
Is that like Nielsen ratings?
Yeah, it just doesn't matter anymore. Like crowdsourcing of data is so much more important. Than what these little surveys they gave to 20 people. Did they stay on top of the time? So that's interesting. Interesting with the rainforest, Amazon Rainforest Street View. Actually, when you wrote it, I thought it was Amazon.com. I was like, oh,
sure.
Why would Amazon.com be doing Street View? Which brings us to another story. Again, this is the USA Today article about, it's called Digital Cloud Gobbles Up CDs, Music, and Books.
Yeah, I just opened this up.
This is for anybody who has sort of been asleep at the wheel for the last 5 or 6, I guess 3 or 4, 5, 6 years.
I have a good story to support this.
Go ahead.
I don't even know what this is about. But I imagine this supports it.
Here it is. The story is, for anybody out there, that the idea that people buy physical media anymore, people don't want to. And from gaming systems now,
this article even mentions Encyclopedia Britannica.
Software, to books, Kindle, iBooks, to music, to videos. I would say even with the announcement of the new being able to re-download movies on iTunes, makes me want to buy CDs even less. It's like, yeah, okay, you keep a copy, and I'll get it when I want it, whenever I want it. So, kind of interesting. What's your story about?
It was, I was sitting yesterday in my girlfriend's apartment, and go on, and we had just finished watching the finale of season 2's Walking Dead.
I heard it was good.
The finale was excellent.
I've not watched any of it.
So this not a TV critic show, but the season got better as it went on, and the end was really good. And it made her just out of nowhere yesterday say to me, she's like, now I want to read the comics. And I was like, oh, that's all right. You know what? I would kind of want to read them. It's kind of a good show, and it's based on these comics or whatever they're called. Novel. What are they called? People who are like into it are like, they're not comics. They're something else.
They're something books. They're like, I don't know, trades or something.
No,
Anyway,
they call them something novels.
Novellas?
No, like a image novel or I don't know. Who the hell cares? So anyway, she said to me, I want to read the comic. I said, oh, it's great. She's like, yeah, I want to go buy it. I'm like, you can buy it right now. She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, your iPad's sitting on your table right in front of you. She's like, oh, that's a good idea. So she finds like 4 different places she can buy it. She could get it in iBooks. She can download the Walking Dead app. She can download some other comic app.
Comic X.
So Comic X.
That's the best one.
That's the one she went with.
Yep.
It had good reviews, and it had it for the cheapest. It was like $5.99 for the first volume.
Right.
Like iBooks had it for like $8.99. So she goes in, she downloads it, and in about 4 minutes, she downloaded the app and the first volume.
Yep.
And it's sitting there, and she's reading it. And I'm like, how cool was that?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that was kind of cool. And this is the person who's like, I can't wait to get all my CDs out of storage and display them, and has like all these records and like is into physical media, has a huge bookshelf of books. I'm surprised that she actually went for it and was like, all right, it might have been like an impulse thing. Like, I want it now. Oh, wow, I have it now. Cool.
Right.
And not like wait for it to come from Amazon and then like maybe you want to read it, maybe you don't. Graphic novel.
Graphic novel, that's right.
All right, just popped in my head.
It
was pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting because you touched on that because the article really goes and says that talks back to the time where displaying your media was a big deal. And obviously, books and libraries used to be a big thing. I mean, way back in history, like, you didn't own books unless you were very, very wealthy. And so it's kind of trickled down. So people have bookshelves, and if you had a den with a whole set of books, and isn't that impressive? I know you're pointing over to the studio in the corner with your collection of books, which is not impressive.
And records.
And then records, and then CDs, and I mean, how many times you walk in someone's apartment and they have all their DVDs out?
DVDs were huge.
It's like,
the DVD collection.
I have spent
huge.
$400 to $500 on things I only watch once. I used to have tons of DVDs I didn't even open. I never even opened them up. And it's totally a shift. I hear more and more people say, I don't want the physical media. I don't want it. It's digital. I want it digitally, and I want to consume it. And then I might want to consume it again, but I don't want to consume it every single time.
I have not purchased a CD or a DVD or a Blu-ray. I don't even have. Here's the thing. I don't even have machines that play these things. I have a laptop, which I guess I could play a DVD or a CD on.
Not for long.
Yeah, like, I don't have in my apartment. I have a nice big HD TV, but I do not have a DVD player. I have a stereo, but I do not have a CD player. Like, that's for the TV. I have a record player, which is interesting, but I think records are coming back. That's my opinion. My opinion is people will continue to buy vinyl for the sound quality and get the free digital download that comes with it, and have that on the go, and have the vinyl That's just my thing.
Just Google
That's my
vinyl
thing.
Sales, and it's like,
I'm sure they're up from the 90s.
A plummet.
I bet they're...
No.
Well, it's a plummet from the 70s, but I bet they're up since the year 2000. I bet they're up. That's just my guess.
We'll take that as a side bet.
We'll take that as a side bet. But honestly, I look in my apartment, I have no way to play physical media. I have an Apple TV plugged into my TV. I can listen to all my music through my stereo via my Apple TV. I could watch all those TV shows and everything through Netflix streaming and all that. If I bought a DVD, I'd literally have nowhere to play it. I'd have to, like, rip it in my laptop and convert it to some digital thing that I can play on my TV. So I don't even have the machinery to play physical media anymore.
And it's only getting worse. I mean, I think of
it's only getting better, my friend.
Well, better for the people who want to go digital. I personally start to struggle when I think about a new season coming up. I think about where I'm going to watch it. I start to do that, like, calculation in my head. All right, can I watch it on? I can watch it if I TiVo it. I can go to on demand. I can TiVo it. I can get it. Then I think I can go over here. Then a year later I can go here. Then maybe it goes on streaming. But I love that I have all these options. But really, if price weren't a thing, I would want to watch it on Apple TV. Like, if you said there's no price differential between watching it on cable, Apple TV, streaming on Netflix, Hulu, or getting a DVD or Blu-ray in your house, I would say, give me Apple TV every time. Give me no commercials. Give me back-to-back. Give me streaming to any device I want at any time. Give me the ability to put it on a device so I can take it with me. It's like the best of both worlds. It's most expensive.
You know what Apple TV doesn't have?
What?
And maybe maybe they added it in the new upgrade, but I don't think they did. So what DVDs have, and I know this because my girlfriend and I fall asleep to
Should we rename this episode to, like, my girlfriend and I?
We fall asleep.
Justin has a girlfriend?
I'm just letting everyone know. Go
on.
We fall asleep every night.
Oh, man.
To 30 Rock seasons. So I know 30 Rock, like, all five previous seasons, like, by heart. And one of the best features about doing this via the DVD, she has the DVDs, is you can put a disc in and hit the play all button, and it will just play them. So when you're falling asleep to something, listen, you can't do that on the Apple TV. You can go to a season and hit play on an episode, but then when the episode's done, it's over, and you have to, like, go in and go to the next episode. If you want to truly just go back to back, round robin, the DVD actually still has that. You're laughing at me. The DVD actually
it's
still
has...
It's
the most ridiculous use case ever.
It's a feature.
That's a feature.
That's a feature. Play all. I have a disc. It has 3 episodes on it. I want to watch all 3 in a row. I hit it once. It plays them. That's a good feature.
Oh my
Apple
gosh.
TV should do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like that if you were like, oh, I've got a season. I want to watch all 3 of these. I want to hit play.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and you do have to end and then go back and hit play again. It does take 2 clicks of the thing, and
yeah, but if your goal's to like just have something playing in the background and fall
turn
asleep.
off the TV, go to bed.
No.
Oh,
You have to have
okay.
something on to fall asleep.
That's the problem. Anyway,
you can't just fall asleep. Who just falls asleep?
most people.
No, you have to have something on the TV to fall asleep to.
No. So again, I can't wait. I mean, if someone gave me a lot of money and I weren't to put it in other places like education or a mortgage or something, I would love just to have unlimited.
What's this education thing?
Unlimited iTunes, because that experience of just going click go, and I'm wherever I am. I was on the other day. I wanted to try out the new iPad, so I literally just went back into movies and downloaded Toy Story 3 because I had already purchased it, obviously for the kid. So I hit re-download. It comes down, and I'm
How long
watching
did it take?
It was actually pretty slow. I think I've been having network issues.
I think you have too.
Have you been having network issues?
No, but I think you have.
Oh, okay.
Because I video chatted with you this morning and it didn't go very well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
You want to mention this last thing, or no?
We'll mention it next week.
Next week.
Next
It's
week.
more relevant next week.
More relevant next week.
Okay.
So let's talk about our CloudFocus App Picks of the week.
Alrighty.
As we had many rat holes. The rat hole episode.
Mine is
sleep apnea mask.
apnea mask. Correct. So mine is it ties into a theme.
I'm surprised it wasn't Comic X, but anyway.
No. I didn't download it.
Someone else by the way, I want to say the one thing cool about Comic X that is cooler than reading a real graphic novel. Is that it goes from, you can set it to every touch of the screen goes from panel to panel, and it leads you through the story panel to panel.
I saw that little thing.
It's very cool because it's
she was
cool
reading
way to read
it last night, and she's like, I've never really read these. I have to not just read the words.
Right.
Because like you'll look at a page and there'll be like 7 panels on a page, and only one of them's got words. And like your mind, you're like, all right, let me just move on. Right. But no, you should like look at it. Right. I mean, I'm not a reader.
That's why Comic X does it better, because it actually turn that on, because it goes from panel to panel. So you look and then you go to the next panel, so it like leads you through almost like a very slow motion movie. All right, sorry, what's your pick?
My pick piggybacks off of our Amazon Rainforest Street View pick.
Okay.
And it's called Brazil Quest for iOS. It's a mobile app, and the reason why I brought this one up is because I was reading an article about the 2014 World Cup, which is 27 months from now.
In Brazil, yes.
In Brazil.
Yes.
And they're already starting the mobile and social marketing aspects already.
Really?
This game, Brazil Quest, is meant as a way for people to familiarize themselves with the 12 host cities in Brazil. So like you get to know what the different cities are, and there's like a tour guide, like a tourist thing in there. The game is whatever. It's kind of like Mario Brothers, sort of. You just like run and jump and collect coins and things. Mm-hmm. The game's nothing special. I thought the concept was cooler because they put out this game. They're putting out a YouTube channel to lead up, and this is 27 months away. They're really gearing up.
Yeah.
So it makes me think, like, aren't the Olympics this year? Are they missing out on something? Like, aren't the Olympics like a big deal?
They used to be
internationally. Shouldn't they be on this mobile games, social? Like, shouldn't they be all over this? Or at least NBC here in the United States, who covers it. Like, shouldn't they be all over this? I thought they were way ahead of themselves, and it's a great idea to get out there fast. They were doing a competition today in Times Square, where our office is, on 45th and Broadway, right down the block from us. You know, they have the big screen there.
Yep.
People were playing it on the big screen.
Okay.
And for a chance to win a trip down.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, they've kicked off the marketing efforts for something 2 years from now. using mobile games and social.
Yeah,
and I thought that was just an interesting way to go about it.
It is. That's very cool. Very cool game. Brazil Quest for iOS, I assume it's free.
Free. It's not a great game. I just wanted to bring it up as a concept.
I will say the thing that I've looked back at the Olympics, which used to be a big deal to me, the bringing it every 2 years, I think, has been a horrible mistake.
Bad decision.
Yeah.
Just do it every 4 and give us both of them in the same year.
Yeah,
we can handle it.
Make it the year of the Olympics, and you get kind of geared up for it.
I mean, I like the summer better than the winter, so I'm looking forward to these Summer Olympics here because I like basketball and I like the swimming. I like all that stuff better than, like, I don't know, the winter sports to me are boring.
Yeah.
But they're missing out. There's a lot there. Like, they should be doing something now, and I haven't heard. And now I'm hearing something about the World Cup 27 months in advance. Like, the Olympics should be doing something, and I should have really heard about it already.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. All right. Well, I'm going to make my pick. Something called... I feel like I've used this before. This is one of these things that... Well, this is one of these things.
You're doing a Justin pick?
No.
I may have used this. It looks cool.
This is something that, like, 3 or 4 years ago, I downloaded and installed. I then heard about it again. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I actually had a copy of it sitting on my disk drive. And what it is called Fluid. It's for the Mac. That might be a version for the PC. And what it does for all you who use web apps all the time, it basically creates an app around your web app. So you know how in you have all these apps, but now I've built an app called Google Docs. It's my Google Docs app. And what it does is it automatically just sends me right into an URL. It makes it something that shows up in my dock as its own app. It should actually be putting in a little icon. It's not doing it. But basically it creates its own thing for the app. So for people who use Salesforce a lot, you could create a Salesforce app or a production Salesforce app or another app. And it would use Safari as the background for the browser, but it makes them little apps in your dock so you can see them. So you don't kill off, Safari by mistake and kill off 10 tabs because it is its own app. It has its own name and it sits in your app folder as its own thing. So you can keep it in your dock and you can, click. And of course, it's not working for me, which is of course but pretty cool. So again, if there's places,
There it is.
Yeah. So there's places you go, you can control like what it looks like. But nice thing, I can just leave it in my dock here, and then it's always, always in my dock. For places or things you use all the time, especially for Google Docs, for Salesforce, for just apps you're just constantly using, or mail, you might want to build it into its own little Fluid app. So it's called Fluid. It's free and it's kind of cool. Neat little trick. I think it's available. It's definitely free, and you should check it out. I've seen other people use it. I've forgotten it. I go back to it. I'm so used to using my browsers and tabs, but it's kind of neat because it makes it its own thing.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. So that is the CloudFocus App Picks of the Week and the podcast of the month. No, we'll have one more next week.
One more.
So remember to go to blog.arkusinc.com and subscribe by RSS. It's that really simple syndication system. Remember to follow the company at Arkus Inc. at twitter.com/ArkusInc. I'm at twitter.com/JasonMAtwood, and Justin here is at twitter.com/JustEdelstein. We're also on Facebook in our new timeline view, facebook.com/ArkusInc, with a big picture of an Arkus cloud right on the front there, so you can get what the whole Arkus thing is about. You can subscribe in iTunes, which will be the fastest way, or subscribe in Instacast if you're an Instacast user. We love Instacast. And then you'll get the latest episode whenever it gets published. Come right down to you. And remember, you can always comment if you want to send comments to us one way or another. You can hit us up on Twitter, on the Facebook page. You can leave comments there. We'll see them. Or using discuss on the actual post in the blog. So you can click on, hit, discuss. And you can leave a comment there. We'd love to hear your feedback. All right. Until next week. And as we always say as we leave this cloudy realm, enjoy those cloudy days.